What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the VZN Podcast. Today we have a very special guest in the building, the one, the only, Mr. VeeReels.
Let's go! Thanks for having me, bro.
Pull the mic a little closer.
Thanks for having me, bro. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the effort that you did to set this up, because you and I, we just did this, and it took a minute. I'm not going to lie.
It's kind of crazy, the setup, right?
Yeah.
But well worth it, you know, quality over quantity. So
Hell yeah.
we're doing it, man. We're doing it. So how you been, man? How you been?
Life's been good, man. 2023's been good for creative work. I had a little bit of a personal injury a couple of months ago where I tore my ACL. For all my basketball players out there, keep your head up. Shit sucks in the beginning, but it does get better over time. Make sure to get your MRI. Make sure to see your doctors. I actually wanted to make the best of that situation. So what I've actually done is I hooked up with one of my really good friends. His name is Rich. One of my friends, his name is Mitch. Rhymes with Mitch, with Rich. He actually wants to create documentaries. So what I've done is I reached out to him. I was like, yo, why don't you make me the subject of a documentary that we can make for a comeback story? So we've shot 2 episodes already. And the first episode was kind of me getting up from the bed, in pain and stuff. And I didn't have to act because I was legit in pain. You know what I mean? Fucking crutches and shit. Can we cuss?
Yeah, we'll cuss away, man.
Okay, good. Yeah, and then Jamal Murray from the Denver Nuggets just won the NBA championship. And that guy actually tore his ACL 2 years ago. And that's a story, right? So I'm kind of channeling him a little bit and trying to just come back. Episode 2, I legit have a pool in my backyard, which I know, privilege. But I've been doing aquatherapy, hydrotherapy. So it's just to get the word out on exercises that you can do, ways in which you can strengthen. And then I actually went to my physio. So he actually followed me to my physio with a camera, and we kind of did it up there. So it's more of an education piece, but also in that time when you can't shoot, it's just a way to be creative.
Well, there's nothing better than a comeback story, right? Everyone loves the underdog comeback story.
Exactly.
For those who don't know who VeeReel is, make sure to go check out his Instagram. This guy's a master at making reels. We met you did a video shoot in our smaller location, and it's right. Cool. Forget the artist's name.
It's Chilla.
Chilla, yeah.
Shout out to Chilla.
And that turned out to be an amazing video. So yeah, make sure to go follow him. Drop your Instagram.
Yeah, it's at VeeReels, and follow me on YouTube, Instagram, X, which apparently used to be Twitter, is now X. So I'm on X too, apparently, as VeeReels. And yeah, man, shout out to this guy too, man. Him and Nick were some of the most inspiring creatives that I met. Legit, when I walked in that studio for the first time, I couldn't believe what you could do with such a small space. And no disrespect for the small space, but the fact that you actually were able to transform that, I swear to God, it was probably as big as this tiny area that you have here, but you were able to make 4 sets out of it.
Yeah,
that was inspiring.
Yeah, it was the first studio was a dream, and we're lucky and fortunate enough to be here today in this bigger studio,
yes,
new
sir.
sets.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? We wouldn't even have the space to do this in our other studio. You
yeah.
know? So
yeah,
very fortunate and lucky. Shout out to Nick, my co-host. He's not here today.
Shout out Nick.
He's recovering from a wrist injury.
Yeah, man.
But everyone seems to be getting injured.
Yeah, what's going on, man? I swear, I hit 30, and then it's just it's a waterfall.
It's
you know what I mean?
Slow recovery after 30, right?
Yeah, man. But it is what it is, right? Yeah.
I want to touch on something. I seen you on I believe was a Canon.
Oh yeah,
the boat.
Yeah, the boat.
What's it called?
So it was a collaboration between Canon and Socality, and basically what they did was they invited a bunch of creators out and a bunch of Toronto creators out to try out their cameras.
Where was my fucking invite? Huh?
Yo, you know what? It wasn't heavily marketed. Usually you see Instagram ads for stuff you want to go to, but it wasn't heavily marketed. I actually got the message from my friend Rich. Shout out Rich. And he swung it, and within the first 30 minutes, it was sold out. or something like that. Like it was pretty in demand because there were about like, I don't know, 150, 200 people on that boat.
Wow.
But what an incredible event, dude. Like
I bet. So I seen a video with you and Chris Howe.
Yeah.
Right? He lives in Toronto.
He
I
does.
see him walking all the time down Islington.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, so it's crazy. I seen him in a video with you. That's cool. Him, Peter McKinnon, Maddie, they're some of the biggest creators
in Toronto.
Right?
Yeah. And honestly, those guys kind of paved the path for a lot of us, right?
For the Canadians, at least.
For the Canadians.
And they're pretty big in the US too.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like majority of their demographic is in the US, just because of the numbers. But I think seeing them succeed and do the things that they're doing, it almost lends credibility to what you can do as a creator from Toronto.
Well, it makes you feel like, yeah, I can do it too. Because Peter McKinnon is in Newmarket, man.
Yeah.
I used to live like in Richmond Hill near Newmarket. Newmarket's nothing special, So the fact that someone from Newmarket, can do it, it's crazy, right? Like,
it's incredible. Yeah, and I mean he makes really unique content too, right? Like he's niched himself in a way that his videos are like really inspiring, because I'm not even a fan of some of the things that he's into, but he brings you on the journey so that you're kind of like into it at the end of the video. You're like, wait a minute, I like trucks. Like I love coffee videos now. Like
he's really good at making things look cool. And I remember he was one of the first guys to do like tutorial videos for Lightroom and stuff that. So he brought that in, and I definitely want to go. I know he has a coffee shop now in the market.
That's right.
It'd be dope to go down there and check it out.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So who else like influenced you to get in this? What are some of your favorite?
Jeez, that's a good question, dude. Honestly, there's so many people out there that that kind of have taught me certain things here and there, but I have to give a shout out to obviously the big Toronto ones. So like a lot because of the tutorials. Like I still have some Peter McKinnon like videos saved that I like refer back to for tracking and stuff like that on After Effects.
I think Peter McKinnon's like the GOAT.
He is. For like a lot of that stuff. But yeah, Maddie, Alan Palander is a really good one. My dream, to be honest, is to actually work as an F1 photographer and videographer. Just being like in the paddock and like filming teams, it just combines like two of the most unique aspects of the pinnacle of motorsport. Like obviously Formula One is the pinnacle of motorsport, and there's nothing that I can imagine being more exciting, like with that energy and soaking it all up, and then also being creatively in your zone. I want to talk about this later, but yeah, that's probably where I would see myself like thrive the most. And Alan Palander actually does a really good job, because he actually combines a lot of that those similar tastes, and you should check out some of his reels. They're really cool.
Is he the one that has the dark tones, like everything's like black?
That's right.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Daniel Schiffer as well.
Yeah.
He's the king of B-roll, man. Some of the stuff he does with the product shoots is he's a wizard in Final Cut. So shout out to Final Cut users. Of course. You are
I'm a Premiere user, man. Yeah, I mean that whole saga of generative AI coming to Adobe now is what's keeping me into the Premiere game, because for the longest time I actually wanted to switch to DaVinci. Just because of the color grading and like
the hype train.
I mean, there were a lot of people that jumped onto that train.
Everyone seems to be jumping to DaVinci.
Yeah.
I'm still on Final Cut, man. I'm like I started off at Premiere Pro, mastered it.
Nice.
Good with it. But for what I was doing, I just thought it's such an easy workflow in Final Cut.
So why did you switch?
From Premiere to Final Cut?
Yeah.
Well, plugins, number one, just plug and play. For what I'm using, like when I'm doing Instagram Reels and when I'm doing podcasts and stuff, I don't really need Premiere. But with the bigger stuff, then I'll jump into Premiere. For sure.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't really had much experience with like Premiere crashing. Like that's the kind of meme, right? Where it's like any Adobe products like crash. I kind of missed that train. I don't know like why, but maybe I'm like dodging bullets. Watch every single time I try to edit now, it's gonna crash on me. But
what do you edit on?
I edit on it's an M1 Max 14-inch. Maybe that's like why.
That one's the way to go, man. And that was another reason why I switched to Final Cut, just to keep it in the Apple ecosystem. And
it's optimized, right? Like it's actually like super quick with the M1 chip. So
Yeah.
yeah. A couple other people that I kind of want to shout out because I started this journey like not too long ago, like 2-3 years ago during COVID. I think again, Toronto creators because I work with them so much. I think I mentioned Rich, Jay Ghazi, Anthony Gugliotta, Will Delaney, like Afla. This is Afla, Sarah Shutter. Like these like people were kind of like the core creatives that I grew with, and I really appreciate like the ability to go out there and shoot. But then when you're with people that have the same sort of creative vision as you, it changes something in you. The way you see the world like expands almost. Do you ever feel that?
You need to. It's so hard to be a creator on your own. You know, it kind of makes you feel awkward. But when you're around other creators and they get what you're trying to do, you know, that's why kind of we built VZN Studios. Like it's a space for creators. You know what I mean? And we get all types of people coming in through here. OnlyFans, we get dancers, we get videographers, photographers, and it's just great to see everyone doing their thing, man. We would have never met, you know?
We would have never met unless like this sort of creative crossroads came through. I'm glad you mentioned vision, bro. Like I want to actually ask you about like this sort of setup. What was your motivation to actually come up with a studio that created a space for other creators? Like where did you guys kind of come from?
So it wasn't just me. Obviously, it's my partner, Nick, as well. You know, I met Nick O'Shea. He was a big part of this, huge part of this. And we were actually in the world of construction. We both have construction companies.
That's right.
And you can only do labor for so long, ladies and gentlemen. You can only do labor for so long. And we kind of just wanted to build a space where we could function. We could, you know, do our work and stuff. And then we came up with the idea of just renting it out to people that needed it when we're not using it. And it led to this, right?
Right.
So.
That's amazing. And then what was the motivation to kind of like create a new studio? Do you feel like you had more to showcase like from your creative sort of vision?
Well, so the first studio was a budget-friendly cyclorama studio.
Right.
Not a lot of cyclorama studios have concept walls as well.
Yeah.
Like we have different sets, and you've seen it. We have different sets in there, right? So we were kind of losing out on the bigger clients that needed like a bigger cyclorama wall, a bigger space, and these eventually led to more money. So that's why we came up with this one, and they're both fully running and always packed. So creatives is good for business.
Yeah, man. And speaking of creatives, I mean, obviously, like your clientele is Torontonian, and I think you're in a unique position to answer this question. You and Nick, you see so many creatives come in and out of the studio. What's the vibe on Toronto creators? Like, what do you feel like our strengths are? What do you feel like our weaknesses are? Or is it sort of like all over the place?
This is a tough one, man, because there is some, you know, we get the Brampton rappers come in. We get some people that come in and just absolutely trash our place.
Really?
Then we get like the real deal production guys and like Fatty Soprano. Big shout out to Fatty Soprano. We got some big production guys that come in and they're just carts and carts of equipment.
Wow.
And they know what they're doing. They have everything timed to the T, right? Like they come in and like, okay, we got an hour to do this, and then we got 15 minutes to do this, and then we have drag shows come in.
Really?
We have surprisingly a lot of OnlyFans.
Yeah,
we have a lot of OnlyFans.
I was gonna ask you, should we have sanitized these couches before we started?
Yeah. So that was the biggest shock to me. How many people, and especially the younger generation, is doing OnlyFans now and putting money into it. You know,
it's a proper revenue stream, man. Like it's making people careers out of whatever it is that they find attractive about themselves. I actually think it's like a pretty inspiring sort of direction. I think the narrative for like, I guess OnlyFans is very different. I don't have an account or I don't subscribe to anybody, but I think the narrative on like your body has changed completely. And this kind of like holds true for most creatives as well, where it's like you're no longer like you don't have to be a part of a company in order to make money. Like you you yourself are the creator. You yourself are the brand. And we're 8 billion of us in the world. Like, if you have the opportunity to maximize and optimize who you are as a person, why not make money off of it? Why not be able to create a business around yourself? And I feel like platforms like OnlyFans really help you do that. So
yeah, I can't knock anyone that invest in themselves,
exactly,
that bet on themselves. I love seeing people come in here that you know, are young and they're like dumping money into themselves, spending money on the studio, spending money on the photographer,
right,
spending money on the editing process. Like, I wasn't doing that when I was young, you know?
Same.
So it's good to see these young kids investing into themselves. And if you keep doing that, it will accumulate, man. It
Absolutely.
will. So,
do you think like where we were in terms of when we grew up, like you grew up in the same, honestly, like time as me, when it came to things like, sorry. Oh, I lost it. When it came to things like, I don't know, even social media, like scrolling on your phone and stuff, like we had flip phones and stuff. We didn't have the ability to see millions of other people and what they were doing back in the day, right?
it was, you used to ride your bike to someone's house and knock on their door, see if they were home. Sometimes they were, sometimes they weren't, you know?
We're making ourselves sound ancient, but like, we're not that old. But it is crazy how much has changed in like the last 20 years even, you know?
Yeah, no. I sometimes wonder if I would like this growing up, you know? I'm not sure. I like how I grew up, you know? But as a creator, yeah, like it would have been cool to have this as an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Like, imagine growing your followers
from like 15
from high school.
Yeah,
like, you would leave high school with thousands of followers.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like, I remember when Instagram was around, if you had like 500 followers, you were like, oh,
like
now
if
you have 500 followers, you're like,
who are you?
Who are you, man? You don't have 10K followers.
Exactly. Like, yeah, there's like almost a minimum threshold now.
Yeah,
but yeah, you have your own audience. You have your own ability to like do whatever you want. And the best part is there's a niche out there for everyone. Like, you love anime, there's anime fans. You love like, you know, a certain type of music, you love cosplay, anything out there, you will find your niche. And oftentimes I think that's actually like the way to go. Because when you find, like when we grew up, like we didn't have, like we would go to school and then if somebody wasn't into the same sort of like, I don't know, if somebody wasn't into cameras back in the day, like nobody in your class was into cameras. You were called a nerd.
Yeah, straight up.
Like, that's ridiculous. And now it's just a matter of like going online and posting in a way that like you find people that fuck with exactly what you do.
Yeah, well, now you find your niche and then you monetize it and you make money.
Exactly.
Like, look at all the cosplay people. Like, who now they're cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're cool now.
Anime is cool now. Like, this stuff was like nerdy back in the day. Now, fuck, there's a niche for everything. Like, you can find like anything, like drywall, like construction. Like, there's like a niche and an audience for everyone. And if you're smart, you're creative with a camera. Like, I think in this 2023, everyone should be capable with their phone at least.
Yeah.
Like, it's essential now to know how to make reels. Like, I believe it's a tool that will help your company, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you need to know how to do this kind of shit now.
Well, that's why if you need reels, you can always reach out.
Well, plug,
to your boy VeeReels. No, but that's cool, man. Yeah, I'm really happy with what you've done with the space. I feel like you guys have done. I've literally seen this guy grow, like straight up, like in real time. Like I've seen him grow. Like in the last year, it's been
crazy that it's only been like a year and a half, and we're like 2 studios in. You know, so imagine where we're gonna be in like 2-3 years from now. You know.
Yeah. I had a question about. I love asking creatives this question, but I kind of touched on it before. I want to know what your thoughts are on generative AI, and the future of creatives, because I think there is a little bit of I wouldn't say like anxiety, but there is a little bit of like apprehension on what it will do to the industry and what it'll do for people that are in this industry.
It's a like love-hate relationship with AI right now, right? Like, I personally love what it can do. It does help your workflow out. I know there's podcast editing AI. There's the animation AI. The one that I'm looking most forward to is script AI. Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't.
So it's editing now by script instead of the actual video.
Text-based. Yeah.
So you cut out say he says a sentence and you don't want that part, you cut that out and it will cut it from the video as well.
Right.
So it's like just reading a book almost instead of editing, you know?
Yeah.
But
Which, by the way, I got to plug Adobe for that because they actually introduced it as a beta feature, text-based editing. And so it transcribes literally everything that, you know, we're saying in a podcast, and say that we had like an entire section that you want to remove. You just literally just highlight it and it's gone.
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing,
It
yeah.
cuts automatically. It ripples too. So it's just like snapped in, and it makes editing like 100 times easier.
Have you been messing around with Photoshop beta?
Yeah. So the generative AI fill is what I kind of wanted to get your perspective on. But yeah, it's been incredible to just like revisit your photos, because everybody, like every creative has like a backlog of photos that they don't really touch, you know, because you take a, like, I don't know, on a shoot on average, I go upwards of like 1,000 photos, and I'm not like most creatives that actually like delete the stuff that they don't use. I keep everything. Like I have terabytes worth of
Dang.
pictures and videos that like I literally don't even touch. But what I've started to do is I've started to go back and like really look at the pictures that I've rejected before. And a lot of them are just because, okay, maybe, you know, like the angle isn't right, and they're great pictures, but like, it's like, man, if I wasn't so tight on this picture, you know, like I wish I had a little bit more sky, or if I had a little bit more like, you know, like beach or something like that, it would make the composition like that much better. Those are the pictures that I think have a lot of potential, and those are the ideas that, you know, when you kind of put them off before, you can kind of revisit them. And I think that adds a layer of creativity that wasn't there before.
I do. I like how simple they made it now to just remove stuff.
Yeah.
Generative fill, like you said, like it was so hard before, you know, it was so time consuming. It wasn't hard, but it was like time consuming. And
You
like,
got to find that.
literally anyone can go do it. Anyone can download Photoshop right now and circle what you want to remove, and boom, it's gone. Yeah. And there's like a perfect backdrop, you know? So I love that. Hey man, editing is not easy. You know this. Editing's not easy.
Hours of time.
So,
hours of time, which you can't see. Like as the consumer, you can't, when you're scrolling through, you can't see all of the stuff that goes into making that video. And I wish more creatives would actually put that on the forefront, right? Because I feel like the effort would be appreciated. Sometimes it's just the end result, but yeah, it's hours and hours of work that
ruthless,
we're getting help with
and,
now, though.
It's just like anything they can ease your workflow. I don't think people should be scared of. Now, like they're starting to get AI where it's taking over people's jobs. Well, that's a different story, you know. But if you're using it as a tool,
then why not?
Why not, right? Like
I would have to say though, in the way that Photoshop has that beta for generative AI, I'm gonna be excited when Premiere brings that into video, because
that's gonna be crazy.
That's gonna be crazy. Like imagine music videos as an example, right? Like you have something that you're shooting, it's great, and say that you're missing.
It's called Firefly, right? That's what it's
Adobe Firefly, exactly. Say you're missing like I don't know, like a tree in the background. You could literally just like circle that area, just in text-based editing wise. You just like add a tree in this background, or add a palm tree or something like that, and it tracks with the video.
I've seen that it also does like B-roll, like it does your B-roll for you. Like,
oh my god, yeah,
that's crazy, right?
They take it a step further. It's just like you can literally just like ask it to create a script for you,
and it'll mock it up. Right?
It'll mock it up.
That's wild.
Where are we going, bro? Why are we even investing in these cameras?
I swear, if we do get another studio, our next studio, what we want to get is a LED wall. Have you ever seen those big ass LED walls?
No.
Like they shot The Mandalorian.
Oh yeah. The ones that track like as you're moving.
Yes. That's definitely would be our next step. We've seen a couple studios already with it, and I think that would be, if we do open up a next studio, that would be
in Toronto.
Step. Yeah, we're gonna. Really? Have the other ones. I'm not sure where they are, but
okay,
I'm not trying to plug them. Yeah. But yeah,
that's good stuff.
Hopefully, we can jump on that wagon.
Yeah, man. As does gear matter as a creative?
100%.
Yeah.
I think so. I
You're not one of those people that are gonna front and say, "No, man, gear doesn't matter."
Anyone tells you that, it's a lie, man.
Yeah, I agree. Actually,
have you tried shooting on a crop sensor, or like like a non-prime lens? It makes a world of difference. Now I know talented people, they can use any camera and get her done, right? Yeah. But it could be easier with a. Well, what do you think?
I think you actually hit the nail on the head there. I think talented people can use anything, right? So if you're answering the question in context of a talented person, no, gear does not matter, because you can pull out your phone, you can pull out like an old like Nikon D3300 or something that you have from the closet, and you can still make a good video. It does make life easier though, and like I think the crop sensor is a really good example of that. But I think for me, it was actually like investing in the right gear that got me to a good place. Like, I gave up my primes for the flexibility of having 3 lenses that I carry around everywhere. So I rock Tamron, and I have 3 lenses, which is 17 to 28, 28 to 75, and then 70 to 180. And man, it is the best, because I have like everything from 17 to like 180, right? And so when you're answering the question, does gear matter? It does, because now I have the ability to shoot from 17 to 180. Versus before, like say I only had like 1 prime, like a 35, like you wouldn't have that ability to capture some of the things you could at 180 millimeters.
I think a lot of beginners make the mistake of buying equipment that's not suited to what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I made that mistake, coming along. Like, you have to buy gear, so how can I put this? Like, product photography.
Yeah.
You're going to buy different gear for product photography than you would like modeling, right? Like portrait photography. If you're doing commercials and ads and product shoots for videos and stuff, like even podcast equipment's way different, right? Like, why would, like half of this stuff a lot of people wouldn't need, right? Like, unless you're shooting a podcast, right? Yeah. So I think a lot of people make the mistake of buying the wrong equipment at the beginning. Like, like you said, you bought the equipment that was best suited for your workflow, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if I was doing weddings and stuff, I would get a lot of zoom lenses, right? Like, I would get 24 to 70s.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, those are ideal for weddings, right? Like portrait lens, 85. 85 is actually one of my favorite focal lengths.
It is. That's what I started off with, actually.
85 Baptist lens, one of my favorite lenses of all time.
The Zeiss?
The Zeiss,
That's a great lens.
What's your favorite focal length?
That's a good question. So I was talking to you about this a little earlier, and I really like the 85 because I started off with it. So shooting portraits and even like shooting videos were really unique because I had an f1.8 or something like that. So I was obsessed with bokeh when I started, and that would give you really creamy bokeh. But I've been obsessed with the G Master, the 24 millimeter 1.4 G Master.
Yeah, shout out to the G Master.
Yeah, that one. That one is unbelievable. And I shot a wedding with it like 2 years ago, and just the image that I got from that 24, it fit perfectly. Like, it wasn't, 35 is great too, but I think it just like gave me everything I needed. And with 4K, like, you can really zoom in for different angles, but the 24 resembled what like naturally you would see. And I really like that. That's probably one of my favorites.
Shout out to the 24. 24 has been on my camera since day one. I would say 24 for me, 50, nifty 50. Everyone loves the 50.
I actually don't like the 50.
No?
No.
Not a big fan,
No, because I actually had the 50, and it just, when you try the 85 and you want that like super nice portrait look, I feel like the 85 is a little bit better for that. Yeah. And I wouldn't use a 50 unless I wanted like that portrait look. So it never really worked out. Like,
I'd rather go with that 85 that's just special, man. I love it. That's my go-to portrait lens for sure.
Interesting. I should probably try it again. Some people swear by the 135 too. There's a G Master 135 that's fantastic in the way you use it. Actually, one of my friends, Rich, actually, he uses the 135 to perfection. This guy's like, because I think
for portraits?
For everything.
For everything.
So we had a shoot at Chotomate, which is a great restaurant. Shout out Chotomate, great restaurant, Japanese Peruvian cuisine. And they were shooting the opening of their restaurant, their patio, for the summertime. And he literally shot the entire, like, everything, all the photos on the 135. And I think you learn over time, but the way you position yourself, like, super far.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, you got to be far.
You have to be really far. Yeah. But if you do it in the right way, you can make a really composition shot look super compressed with like added details in the background, giving it depth, because it's obviously so long as a telephoto. But if you do it right, it's one of the most unique focal lengths by far.
I'm gonna have to try it out.
Yeah,
Never
135.
really go. Usually in studios, it's kind of hard. You're tight space, but
Yeah,
like,
big time. Yeah, but Formula One too, man. Formula One, that's what's making me want to get into telephotos too, like the 200 to 400 range. Like, I've yet to try that, but I feel like you could do some damage with that. The only thing is stabilization with that long of a focal length might be a little difficult, but yeah, I don't know how they do it, to be honest. Like, it's kind of incredible. It's an entire discipline.
What's on the wish list here for your favorite camera? Is it Red? Is it Aria?
It's a good question.
What's like if you had someone just said, "Hey, you can have any camera right now," which one would you pick?
That's a good question. I gotta say, one of the biggest things about, because I think I hit a point where I got what I wanted to do majority of what I needed to do. So I shoot currently with a Sony a7 IV, and it's an excellent hybrid camera. I think one of my challenges is storage. So I realized that if you go higher with, like, you know, the Red cameras, like even like a Blackmagic, you have to really invest in good storage.
Yeah, once you upgrade your camera, you gotta upgrade everything.
Exactly. So I don't think I'm craving an upgrade right now. I know that's crazy to say, but I actually think I have my dream camera because
The A7 IV?
A7 IV, because it aligns like a lot of those things, right? It aligns like a good file size. It aligns basically anything I need to do. I can shoot with this. I can make it a cinema camera. The only thing it doesn't have is 4K 120.
120.
And,
I like the A7 IV. I have it here too. We're shooting on it actually right there.
Yeah, it's
and
fantastic
the
camera.
image like it has a really nice image quality to it, especially on like skin tones and stuff. So I like it. It's a good camera to have, man.
But if we're talking about 4K 120, then maybe the FX3,
The Epic.
which is a phenomenal camera. But then you lose the photography aspect of it, which I'm a huge fan of. Like I need my megapixels, man.
I love blending in videos and photos. You know, like
In a video?
yeah, I love it. I love blending them both in. Like take a bunch of good photos
Yeah.
and then kind of blend them in there. Like
Yeah.
you know, like those behind the scenes shoots. You know?
Exactly,
Like,
yeah,
those
yeah.
are cool.
Which is, I'm glad we did this because like obviously you're seeing the final product now, but me and Anthony, we spent like 30, it's mostly him, but we spent like 30 minutes actually setting this up, and I got a time lapse. There's a lot that goes into this, and I'm glad that we kind of like took the time to do some behind the scenes stuff. But yeah, I wanted to ask you about your revenue streams for Vision. You have a couple. What are they kind of like, and do you prefer one over the other, and how's it going?
So our main revenue stream at the beginning, because we had 1 foot in and 1 foot out, and still in our construction companies, and
You guys still have your construction
Yeah,
company?
we're still running it.
No way.
So at the beginning, we were kind of just renting it out. I don't know if you guys have heard of Peerspace or Gigster. These are
I've heard of Peerspace.
so these are like Airbnbs for studios.
Mm-hmm.
They take a certain percentage. So yeah, we do book it out. But mostly we do our own in-house clients as well. So a lot of people want to book our space, but don't have their own photographer, don't have their own editors and stuff. So
You guys offer that?
then we take that. And now we're slowly kind of drifting into podcasting, as you can see, obviously. So
Yeah.
we found it the most lucrative. I don't want to say most lucrative, but the most makes sense for us. You know what I mean? So, whatever we try to do, whatever we try to be like a Swiss Army knife here. You know?
Yeah.
Whatever you guys need, we try to make it happen. If we don't, we call guys like you. You know?
Are you ever planning on bringing a car in here, bro? I feel like you have so much potential.
I think we're thinking about bringing a motorcycle in here.
A motorcycle?
Yeah, I think a motorcycle would look crazy against the light bulb wall behind you.
Yeah, and there's enough space here too. Like if you're shooting from there, that'd be lit.
The problem is people get reckless in here, man.
Yeah.
And like we at the beginning we were buying like expensive furniture and stuff,
Yeah.
and people were just trashing
Trashing it?
and like just.
Do you have any stories? You don't have to like mention names. And stuff.
So all the time, C stands go missing.
Yeah.
Remotes. Those are the most common things that
yeah.
go missing. We had a family break our couch.
Yeah.
We had, this is the weirdest one. We had our internet router cord stolen.
What?
So yeah, we just came in and our cord for the internet router was gone.
Yo, somebody walked in and be like, "Yo, this is my time.
nice
This is my
cord."
time. Yo, I needed this Ethernet for so long."
Bell fiber cord. Yeah, and they just like so.
So weird.
Yeah. So now we're kind of on the trying to buy used stuff, like used furniture, because we're anticipating it's not gonna last long.
Yeah,
so,
that makes sense.
So bringing a motorcycle in here would be a little bit tough.
Yeah,
I'd have to have my eyes on it at all times, right?
Do you ever collaborate with any of the other people here? Because there's a ton of creatives studios.
There is. In our old studio, there's also a lot of creators there too.
Yeah.
Shout out Soft Studios, Tiger Shark Studios. We're good friends with those guys, and sometimes they use our unit. Sometimes we recommend our clients over there.
That's sick.
It's all family. Like we're not in competition, man, because we don't have a storefront. You know, so it's not like we're clients say they come here, like they find us. So we're not worried about anyone else. You know, we're neighbors to Mint Room Studios. I think a lot of people know Mint Room.
Yeah. As soon as you walk in, actually, you can see like
huge. They have like 3 or 4 units in this building.
Oh wow! Okay.
So they're very corporate and they do more photography, but we don't care about that.
It's a family, right? It's like you guys support each other and like it's
there's enough bread to go around for everyone, man.
That's fact.
There's not a lot of these studios.
Yeah,
you know, so it's not like we're stealing anyone's food. So.
Exactly. That's good, man. So what's the future look like for you guys?
Future is it's looking bright, man. We're gonna make VZN a franchise. We want to put it everywhere. You know what I mean? We want to put it Ajax, Burlington, Hamilton. Hamilton's booming with creators right now.
Really?
Yeah, Niagara, Hamilton area. So
you just have like a lot of people coming from there. Is that?
A lot of people coming from, and there's a lot of other studios there. We keep our eye out on all the other studios, so we know where it's at.
Nice.
VeeReels, we have to wrap it up.
Yeah,
it was honestly a pleasure having you here.
Man.
You are the GOAT of the Reels.
This guy's too kind.
If make sure to like, subscribe, check us out on Instagram, VZN Studios _. Check out my boy VeeReels.
Yes, sir.
What's your Instagram?
It's VeeReels on Instagram, on Twitter, on or X, on YouTube as well. It's a pleasure, man. It's honestly a genuine pleasure.
Me too,
and
man.
it's been a couple months that we've been trying to set this up, but I'm so glad we did this.
We got her done.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. See you on the next one. Peace.